I see in the near future a crisis approaching that unnerves me and causes me to tremble for the safety of my country. Corporations have been enthroned, and an era of corruption in high places will follow. And the money power of the country will endeavor to prolong its reign by working upon the prejudices of the people until all wealth is aggregated in a few hands and the republic is destroyed. Ladies and gentlemen, that, I think, says it all.
This Citizens United decision equates money with free speech. It is a simple way to extract that, to say people with more money now have more free speech. Very simple, not complicated. To those who might say that this is not a local issue, as explained on OpenSecrets.org, a nonpartisan group that is funded by Citizens for Responsive Politics, the #1 race in 2010 that attracted outside spending was right here in Colorado for our senator. And the #1 and 2 candidates that attracted outside spending were Ken Buck and Michael Bennet, respectively. This is a local issue.
So what is this corporate personhood stuff anyway? It's not real. It's a legal fiction. It's a lawyer's construct, and it has one and only one design function: to make bribery legal. Now, I know politicians don't like the term bribery. They like the term campaign contributions or consultants' fees or something like that. It's bribery. You heard earlier the comment by Abraham Lincoln. Corporations have been enthroned, and an era of corruption in high places will follow.
I'm here to support the medicine language that you have seen and was reported in the Daily Camera as the referendum language for this issue of corporate personhood. The language is simple and strong and resonates with ordinary people who want to protect themselves from the overreaching corporate power and monetary corruption of our elections. You don't have to decide what the language of the constitutional amendment would look like. That will be decided a long time from now when we're actually drafting the constitutional amendment. The already tested Madison, Wisconsin language clearly spells out that only natural persons should have full constitutional rights. Corporations and other associations should have something less than that. Also, money shouldn't not be equated with speech, so that we can have realistic campaign finance reform possible. These concepts are simple and powerful. Thank you very much.
An important question has come up a number of times. What would happen to the protections of nonprofit corporations and other entities like clubs, charities, and unions, as well as legitimate and business need of corporations if our referendum were passed? There is nothing in our proposed referendum that would preclude protecting the legitimate protections of these entities.
We are not intending that this ballot measure would solve the details of how these associations' lesser rights would be designed. Rather, we are asking that the City Council allow the citizens of Boulder to have a chance to vote on these democratic principles.
I am speaking today in support of the right to vote on a referendum, on the opportunity to vote on a referendum regarding corporate personhood.
The integrity of our elections at every level is of concern, and the egregious Citizens United decision by the Supreme Court is rapidly corrupting the political process from the national level to local ones by allowing corporate executives unlimited and unaccountable rights to spend corporate money in elections.
Today, less than 1% of the people pay for both political parties' major presidential campaigns. Nonprofits are virtually powerless in the modern political game, hoping at best for an anemic 2 steps forward, 3 steps back symptomatic process. But personhood for corporations is the illness. Over 125 years of corporate lawyers winning court precedents. Citizens United was just the straw that broke the camel's back. In 2008, $2.1 billion was spent on political ads alone in the general election. This was before Citizens United. In 2010, after Citizens United, it doubled to $4.2 billion in just the dinky little midterm, and it's expected to double again to $8.8 billion. Nobody's in the game but corporate interests. On average, money corporate interests lobbied 200 to 1 for every dollar spent, and that was in 2006. $3.5 billion was spent in 2010 on lobbying efforts, and unions only contributed 16% of that price tag. Out of the 13,000 registered lobbyists in 2010, 99.9% were money, corporate, and special interests. So we look at our world. We look at our sick, uninsured parents who can't retire. We look at what's left and we retreat to you, our local government, because that world out there is not manageable right now. It's not about which rights here or there. It's about humans controlling our incorporated institutions or the other way around. It's about power either to heal or to destroy. Let us vote on that future. Don't turn us down. Don't let us down. Just let us vote.
Thank you. If Congress is unwilling to support legislation to overrule Citizens United and its progeny of cases, the citizens' only redress is a grassroots movement to forward the ratification of an amendment to the United States Constitution to either implement that reform constitutionally or to place pressure upon the United States Congress to act. The City of Boulder and its citizens should continue to demonstrate leadership with regard to campaign and election reform to lead the way along with other cities such as Madison, Wisconsin.
Good evening. My name is Elena Nunez. I'm with Colorado Common Cause. We're a nonpartisan nonprofit organization that works for open and honest and accountable government and to increase public participation in the political process. We're here today to support the many other Boulder residents in support of the resolution in opposition to Citizens United. I'd like to echo some of the comments of the previous speakers talking about Boulder's long and strong legacy with respect to campaign finance. In 1999, our organization worked with the League of Women Voters and many of our allies in the community, many of whom are in the room today, to advance a public financing measure for local elections. And the goal of that proposal was to allow everyone to have a voice in local government, even if they didn't have the ability to raise large contributions.
On every issue, what we really want is a rational, factual, balanced discussion for the common good of our community. No distortions. However, the enormous funds available to large corporations make for unequal speech, and with all this unregulated campaign advertising, what we will get are more distortions and fuzzier issues.
We urge you to use the Madison language and to include both corporate personhood and money is speech. We feel both are essential to bring about any real change in the lopsided power relationships that we have with corporations. The question really is who's in charge of our country.
So corporations were created to be in the service of people. People were neither created nor do they exist to be in the service of corporations. The Supreme Court has turned the Constitution on its face and turned it upside down and backwards by placing corporate rights on par with those of human beings.
You and I both know the implications of this decision. You and I both understand that it renders the individual human being, for whom democracy itself was created in order to give defense to, powerless against the established monetary market paradigm, which places the profit incentive above the health of our local and national communities. Let's be clear. It's true that this incentive has created an abundance of wealth for an extremely small portion of the population. However, it's not that portion of the population that I'm here to vouch for, and I believe I'm safe in assuming that it's not the portion of the population you are here to represent. I'm an ordinary, middle-class citizen exercising the rights afforded to me by my Constitution. I cannot compete with monetary interests. In fact, I have nothing to offer those interests but servitude through debt. I can only use what power I have been afforded by the original intentions of the democratic system. One biological person, one vote. A corporation does not struggle for life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness. It is bound by law to seek only ever-increasing capital for its shareholders. I am not a corporation, and you as council people represent me. We must join with others seeking a solution to this problem to show that it is possible to overcome the obstacles that stand in the way of our ability to pass on a society and an earth worth inheriting.
And thank you very much for letting us speak, even though...
Bend down the mic, please. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me speak.
We want to say that today's subject is an important one, and one we're honored to be here to discuss with you. The role of the public in the democratic process in amending the United States Constitution.
Have the same constitutional rights as both. So put in other words, corporations are considered persons under the First Amendment. Just a brief overview, there's a two-step process for amending the U.S. Constitution. The amendment must be proposed first and then secondly ratified.
And specifically within the context of corporations, as we know, the First Amendment reads that Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. That was decided in Buckley v. Vallejo, which held that the court found that there is a compelling government interest in limiting an issue of corruption or the risk of corruption. And the court then reinforced the idea that the government cannot regulate speech based upon viewpoint or based upon the speaker. We're now here on the slide where we're discussing potential ballot language. As many members of the public know and of the council, ballots, this measure has been passed by the people in Madison, Wisconsin, Dane County, Wisconsin, and Berkeley. Here we have the proposed ballot initiative language for Councilman Coles. It reads, and I'll read it for the public and the viewing audience. Resolve, the people of the city of Boulder, Colorado, call for reclaiming democracy from the corrupting effects of corporate influence by amending the United States Constitution to establish that, first, only human beings, not corporations, are entitled to constitutional rights, and second, money is not speech, and therefore regulating political contributions and spending is not equivalent to limiting political speech. This wraps up the conclusion of our presentation, and we're happy to take questions and answers or move forward. Thank you.